Hi and welcome to the channel. This week we're racing in Tsukuba Circuit in the Skip Barber. Tsukuba. The lap we're going to look at is a 102-144, basically done in a single session. One tank of gas, ran through, set my fastest lap I could. I think it's a pretty good lap. I think we're going to see faster laps in racing, probably in the 101s. We're going to take a look at the lap first. Okay, starting the lap. As we exit the last corner, it's just a short run to the finish line, so we need to get a good drive if we want to get a good lap. The run up to the first corner is pretty long, and this is actually a pretty good overtaking opportunity. Get on the inside of somebody. As we approach about here is where I start braking. Sort of this white area on the track, kind of using that incline to help you slow down and really getting on the brakes hard from fourth down into first gear. As we start turning in, I do end up blipping the throttle as I do my downshifts because that drop in gearing would unsettle the car a bit too much. So especially from the second to first, getting a little blip to make the turn in and not disrupt the car too much, and then using a lot of engine braking, coasting into the turn to continue turning the car and getting in towards the apex. So I don't trail brake a whole lot into this corner, mostly using that gearing and engine braking to slow us down. As we sort of approach the apex, you don't want to get on the gas too early because it's going to push you a bit too wide, and not only can you run off the track, it's an opportunity to lose the rear end completely and crash, or at the very least get a 1X, or just compromise your exit out of the turn. So really just kind of being patient, letting the car coast, and then getting on the gas when you can fully commit to 100% all the way down the stretch. Use the whole track width for the exit, just letting the car naturally go over there, not really forcing it either. But stay off the grass, you do get a 1X, and it can really unsettle the rear end. You end up in the right side of the track into those barriers. As we exit this corner, we're shifting up. We're going to get into fourth gear. Kind of keep as straight line as possible. Use the curbs on the inside of both these little turns. And then as we approach this corner here, my braking marker is sort of this dark line as the pavement changes. Again, this is going to be another first gear turn. You got a lot of banking here, so you don't have to go too crazy on the brakes. But again, like the first corner, I'm not using a lot of trail braking here because it starts to unsettle the car as you go into first gear. So small blip, let it coast, use that banking. I let the car drop down pretty low towards the apex, kind of hugging that white line with the front wheel. As soon as you kind of get to the apex, start accelerating again pretty hard. Another corner, you don't want to accelerate too early because it will push you wide, and then you'll have to lift to kind of stay on the track. So timing that is really about just being patient. Don't go too early. Slightly later is better than too early. And then as you exit here, just a quick shift into second. Get all the way to the left of the track. This next corner is just going to be a small lift, and we're going to cut that inside pretty aggressively. I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I use the lift to shift into third. Sometimes I keep it through second in the turn and get into third on the exit. They're about the same speed for me. Again, small lift. We're really aggressively going to cut this Kind of key to this corner is to get that turn in pretty early. Using that lift to kind of rotate the car and get it pointed across this inside corner, using that curb, and just really get back on the gas and accelerate out of here. And then get into third, keeping it tight to the left. Don't really want to use too much track width here because it just slows you down. It's just a long way around. This will get us into fourth gear as well. Keeping it close to the left side. You can go over this little green strip on the inside, and the braking marker for me is sort of the end of this green section. So again, it's going to be another first gear turn. So same as the other two, really. You're going to kind of come in, shift down through third, second pretty quickly, blip the throttle into first just so you don't unsettle the car too much. A lot of banking again in this turn. So it's sort of the same kind of formula as the last turn, where you're going to kind of come in from wide, a little high, let the car drop in and accelerate out through the apex. Don't get on the gas too early again because it will push you wide. It'll push you into that grassy area, which will spin you, or you'll have to lift and that'll just slow you down because we've got a long straightaway ahead of us after this corner, so you really want to maximize the exit here. So we get on the brakes again at the end of this green area, down through the gears, second, first. Make sure you get off the gas, off the brake, and just kind of let it coast in. Let it drop down naturally on that camber. And as soon as we get to the apex, we're going to start accelerating. Staying off the curbs, kind of stay off the curbs everywhere in this track because one, they'll push you out, but some of these ones with the camber in the corners, they actually unsettle the car because they lift that inside of the car a little too high, and you'll either get spin in the rear, you just lose some traction there altogether on the outside wheels. Again, we want to time our apex perfectly so that we can maximize the exit. So better to be a little late accelerating out of the corner than too early because then you have to lift. This straightaway doesn't offer as much draft opportunity as one would think. There is a nice passing zone into this last corner, and then into the next corner. The draft is not as strong as we would like. So generally you end up following a little bit. You can dive in on people and kind of take the line away into the next corner. It's also easy to drift wide in that corner and compromise your exit there so people can cut in under you. So you got to make sure that you can kind of fully commit and hug that inside without compromising too much speed. So as we exit this corner, up through the gearbox, we're only going to get into fourth gear. Keep it wide left. Kind of using this whole outside of the track. And this corner, especially on cold tires at the first couple laps of the race, is going to be kind of sketchy, very easy to spin out or go really wide. So you have to be really careful with the trail braking and getting back on the acceleration. Once the tires are warmed up, it will let you slide, but grip enough that you're confident enough to kind of carry the speed through. For my brake marker, I kind of use that blue hay bale cover on the left side. As soon as I kind of pass that is when I lift and start slowing down and braking gently and dropping it into third. Again, I use a lot of engine braking here to make sure that I'm not trail braking as hard, but rather slowing down with the engine. Settle the car down as much as you can while you get it turned in. It's going to be a third gear turn from here on in, so start easing back on the gas. I tend not to stomp on the gas through this turn because again it can unsettle the car, so really easing back onto the gas kind of as early as you can with full commitment kind of through this area, targeting to not get on that curb on the inside but getting as close as possible to it and really just holding the gas 100%, maintaining your steering angle so that you're not scrubbing too much speed. As you exit here, you can use a whole lot of the exit onto this green area. And it's just, again, a short run to the finish line, get into fourth gear, and that's a lap. All right, good luck out there this week.